Hello, hello, hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever and whenever you may be listening to this. Give me a hello in the comments, hashtag replay if you're listening to the replay. And for those of you who don't know me or who are meeting me the first time, I'm Mary Kerwin. I am the founder of Confident Families and creator of the Encourage Greatness Parenting Group, where I help moms mostly change the patterns that are not serving them and their families, recognize and change them so that they can create more peaceful, loving home lives, less stressful. Um, and I thought I'd start today with a story. And I think this is attributed to Paulo Coelho, but I'm not 100% sure. I looked it up and I've seen several people, but I'm pretty sure it comes from him. Anyway, here's the story. So a young couple moved into a house and they loved the house. It was just perfect. It was their dream come true. They were sitting there in their breakfast nook in their home, looking at the window at the beautiful flowers and gardens when the young woman saw their neighbor hanging out clothes on the line. And she said, "That laundry's not clean. You know, maybe she doesn't know how to wash. Maybe she's not using the right detergent." And her husband just looked and didn't say anything. And this happened the next day when when the next door neighbor hung out clothes. The clothes looked dingy. She said, "There's something. Should I speak with her about it?" And the husband just didn't say anything. And this went on for several days or maybe several weeks. I'm not really sure. And uh, they got up and they were eating their breakfast. And she looked out the window and she said, "Wow, look at that. She must have changed her detergent or she's doing something different because her clothes are so clean." And the husband looked up at her and said, "I got up earlier and cleaned our windows." And so this is how it is with life, right? Um, what we see depends on the clarity of the window through which we look at. Um, Life is not just about what happens or is not about what happens to us, but how we take it in, how we perceive it. And we can't control everything that happens to us, but we can control how we respond. That's completely in our control. Um, our attitude, our perspective, our actions determine how we handle and different situations, and ultimately, it shapes our lives. Um, so, if we focus on our reactions to what we are perceiving, to what we are seeing, um, rather than the things or the events themselves. This goes back to positive mindset. And this is especially important or important when we think about our kids. It's important about everything, but it's especially important when we think of our kids. You know, we have to have a clear understanding of their development and their temperament, or else we will perceive their behaviors as differently. We'll have unrealistic expectations. Um, And if we learn, actually, in life in general, if we learn to see life, if we learn to see the world through the perspective of a child, um, how much more would we enjoy life? How much more would we be able to? Um, how much less judgy that we would be? How much more clearly would we see the person or the thing for themselves instead of for us. I'll give you another example, sort of an example of what I mean. So, as when I was teaching, parents would come in. Almost every parent would say, "How did they behave?" And my reaction to my response to them was always, "They always behave." I think it's oh no, they would say, "Did they behave today?" And my response to them in the beginning was always they always behave. I think the question is how they behave, and and this would go on. If kids who parents perceived as being difficult, um, they would say, were they good today? And my when a kid was quote not behaving in a way that was expected, my response to the especially if it was basically throughout the day, my response to the parents was always they had a hard day. It wasn't they were giving me a hard time. It wasn't they were being quote bad or misbehaving. When they behave in certain, they're having a hard day. It's communication. It's your perspective that makes it good or bad. It's your perspective that labels and judges the kid instead of accepting it for what they are, little kids who are having a hard day. And once you see things in that perspective, especially with your children, it makes your life easier. And it is especially true with children, but it's that way with everything. So is it easy to shift your perspective? No, it is not easy to shift your perspective. Not easy at all. Um, but is it worth it? Absolutely. And if you need some help or clarity shifting your perspective, I will put the link to schedule a no obligation call that we can discuss where you may need a little tweaking of your perspective. We all need a little tweaking of our perspective, and sometimes we can do it ourselves, and sometimes we need help. So if you're in the place where you need some help, you need some clarity, you need to change a behavior that's not working for you and your family, give me a call. Let's set it up. Let's do that. Let's make this world. Let's change our perspective and look to the world through rose-colored glasses. So it will not only make it easier, it will make you feel better. Ciao, ciao for now. See you next week. Wishing everyone who's celebrating a holiday, happy holidays, happy Easter, happy, well, so many holidays now. I will, I am,